everybody, welcome back to the video. So we have an update on the whole Microsoft offered Sony a 10-year contract for COD on PlayStation should their acquisition of Activision get approved. Well, it looks like there was another term that was actually in there that would be included in this proposed 10-year deal, and this involves PlayStation Plus. So, because apparently Microsoft would actually let Sony put the game in their subservice, but Sony would obviously have to pay for it, of course, among other things. But this is according to IGN, who got the report from Bloomberg. So, let's get into it. Microsoft's 10-year Call of Duty promise to Sony would reportedly include PlayStation Plus. Microsoft has been making some big promises lately as it works to encourage regulators to permit the $69 billion acquisition of Activision. Among those promises was a deal offered to Sony pledging that COD would remain available on PlayStation consoles for 10 years, a deal that reportedly also includes PlayStation Plus. So not only would the game be on PlayStation for 10 years should Sony accept this deal, they would also get the ability to have the game in their own subservice. So essentially, theoretically, Microsoft would kind of lose that advantage of having their game in a subscription service because Sony would have the ability to do it. But I think this Microsoft, I'll kind of explain, but I think it's kind of genius by Microsoft to put this in there. But let's continue with the article, then I'll kind of explain why I say that. Anyway, continuing. As reported by Bloomberg, the rights to sell the title by Sony's PlayStation Game service were promised alongside Microsoft's previously stated offer to Sony for 10 years for Call of Duty on PlayStation, if the acquisition goes through. Sony is asked to accept the offer, and has continued to raise concerns with the CMA and the FTC about the acquisition. We all know the FTC is trying to sue Microsoft over it. And regarding the CMA, it was either them or the EU, I've heard apparently, is softening their stance on the acquisition, whether to approve or deny it. So things seem to be working in Microsoft's favor over there, but time will tell ultimately. Anyway, the offer for inclusion on PlayStation Plus is especially notable due to Microsoft's growing and promotion of its own service, Game Pass. Microsoft has previously stated its intentions to put COD on Game Pass if the deal closes, and Sony has claimed that Game Pass significantly leads PlayStation Plus in sub numbers. Meanwhile, Nintendo recently accepted the 10-year deal offered by Microsoft to put COD on Nintendo consoles. And Valve, Gabe Newell, indicated they has no need for such a contract, but was happy to continue working with Microsoft after Newell's words the contract closes. And there's a reason why Lord Gabe Newell is saying that, because ever since, I can't remember which first game it was, but I know they've been putting their games day one on Steam for the last couple of years. You know, like Forza, hell, Halo Infinite was on Steam, for example. Master Chief Collection, that's another one, which is kind of the footage you're seeing here, because I'm playing this on PC because of a mod. But anyway, that's not the point. So yeah, there's a reason why Gabe Newell is back in Microsoft, because he knows that Microsoft will continue to put Call of Duty on Steam should they approve the Activision acquisition. Hell, Modern Warfare 2 launched day one on Steam, and that was actually the first, I think, in a long time that Call of Duty was on Steam. I know it's been years because they've had their own launcher, and so they finally decided to put COD on Steam again. But anyway, to finish off the article, despite Newell's confidence, the deal is far from done. Most recently, the FTC announced it would sue to block Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, saying the deal would harm competition in high-performance gaming systems and subservices by denying or degrading rivals' access to its popular content. Basically, so that's kind of hilarious because that's what Sony has been doing for so long, you know. And with all these, honestly, with all these deals that Microsoft is offering, you can't I don't know how people can see them as the bad guys. I just don't see it. And Sony sure as hell is not the victims. Like, you cannot convince me that. There's no way. You cannot possibly convince me that Sony would be the victims in this. There's no freaking way. Because Microsoft is being a hell of a lot nicer than people give them credit for. So, I know people say, oh, why don't they offer it permanently? You dense motherfuckers. It makes no sense from a business standpoint to offer a contract in perpetuity for something forever. Like, it makes zero sense. So that's why they don't do it. So, like, they're being very generous here, Microsoft is, and yeah, man. But personally, if I were to do, I would probably tell Sony to fuck off pretty much, but after the current deal, their deal with Activision ends. But hey, personally, that's not me. but personally, that's just me. I meant to say, but because of Sony's shady shit they've been doing for years, and seemingly Microsoft has had enough with their statements about this whole mess. But yeah, because I guarantee you, if the roles were reversed, Sony would not be offering the kind of deals that Microsoft is. Just saying, folks, because Sony is cutthroat. And it's pretty obvious, and hell, there was a time where Microsoft was during the 360 generation. And that's why they got so arrogant with the Xbox One, and it bit them in the rear and they're still trying to recover from that PR nonsense, but that's a whole different thing, though. You know, for a different day, so. But yeah, at the end of the day, Sony does not want this deal to go through, so I don't think they're gonna accept it. I don't, and if they do, it's gonna be at the very last minute, because they want to be such pains in the asses for Microsoft, because I think Phil said it best. Like, Sony wants to grow by limiting Microsoft's growth with, you know, by being so cutthroat. With all the money hacking, the time exclusivity nonsense, and money hacking IP that are now exclusive to PlayStation. You know, like the Final Fantasy stuff. I mean, hell, I mean the Marvel games, but that's different, kind of different though, but you kind of get what I'm saying at. I mean, there's plenty other examples out there too, like Stellar Blade. That was originally a multi-plat until Sony money hatted it. And that's just the latest example of it, in my opinion. I guess you could say maybe Silent Hill, the Silent Hill 2 remake. I guess you could say that's another example, since that was, I believe that was multi-plat. I believe that game is multi-plat originally, and now the remake is a timed exclusive, if I remember correctly. People could correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but you kind of get what I'm saying though. Sony does not want this deal to go through, and they're going to do everything in their power to shut it down. Because, for a couple reasons, as it's been repeated to death, you know, because COD revenue is so huge on PlayStation sales, the marketing, and exclusive content deals that Sony has with Activision. If the deal fails because of Sony, I don't know if Activision is gonna like stop, essentially, you know, rip off their not work with Sony again after their contract is up, but who really knows, because Activision executives really want this deal to go through, especially since it you know, it could make the actual work culture of Activision Blizzard so much better under Microsoft, and everyone should want that. But at the same time, though, you know, it's because Activision makes so much money for Sony, that's why they want it blocked. They're not going to accept any concessions. There is no way. Sony knows what they're doing. They're being very disingenuous because they want regulators to block the deal, and they're making people question. The regulators question it, and like, it's working. It's actually working. Hence, you would see all the freaking nonsense, you know, back and forth drama between Microsoft and Sony with these regulators. And I think Phil said it best about Sony spending too much time talking to regulators instead of, you know, hashing out with Microsoft over this whole scenario. But it's pretty clear that Sony wants it blocked, and they're gonna do everything in their power to block it. And if they do succeed, man, I want Microsoft should be cutthroat and it kind of gives Sony a taste of their own medicine, but, you know, and be petty just like they are. Because after this, there is no way the relationship between Microsoft and Sony will ever be the same after this. Like, there is no way. But anyway, that's kind of all I have to say on this. So, oh man, it's gonna keep going, man. Hopefully, the deal actually gets approved or denied by June of next year, as Microsoft originally projected. Hopefully, though, so we can all move on from this mess. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below, and if you like this video, hit the like button. I really love all of the support you guys have given me over this year, and I'm very grateful for that. And consider hitting the sub button so you do not miss any more videos if you're new here, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great one.